When my brother Michael texted me, "Stay away from Christmas," 3 weeks before our family's annual holiday gathering at my parents' house, I felt a familiar sting of rejection that had been building for years as our relationship deteriorated due to his increasing jealousy and resentment toward my success in both my personal and professional life. The message came out of nowhere during what had been a particularly busy day at my law firm, where I was wrapping up year-end cases and preparing for the holiday break that I had been looking forward to spending with my family in the same tradition we had maintained for over 3 decades since I was a child. Michael and I had been having tensions for months, ever since my promotion to senior partner at my firm coincided with his latest business venture, failing spectacularly and leaving him financially devastated and emotionally bitter about what he perceived as the unfairness of life and my seemingly effortless success in everything I attempted. His text was clearly meant to hurt me and exclude me from the family celebration that had always been the highlight of our holiday season, a gathering that brought together parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins for a week of festivities that created memories and strengthened bonds that I had always treasured as one of the most important aspects of my life and identity as part of a large, loving, extended family. I replied simply, "Okay," to his message, appearing to accept his demand that I stay away from Christmas. But what I did next would expose the true depths of his manipulation and force our entire family to confront the toxic dynamics that had been poisoning our relationships for years, while protecting the holiday traditions that meant everything to me and my children, who deserved to experience the magic and love of Christmas with their grandparents and extended family, regardless of their uncles. Petty jealousy and cruel attempts to exclude us from celebrations that belonged to all of us equally. The history of my relationship with Michael had been complicated for years, dating back to our childhood when he had always been the older brother who felt entitled to more attention, resources, and recognition from our parents, despite the fact that I consistently outperformed him academically, socially, and later professionally in ways that seemed to come naturally to me, but required tremendous struggle and effort on his part. Growing up, Michael had been the golden child for the first 8 years of his life until I was born, and began displaying talents and abilities that our parents couldn't help but notice and celebrate, creating a dynamic where he felt displaced and resentful of what he perceived as my stealing of the spotlight and parental attention that he believed rightfully belonged to him as the firstborn son. Our parents, Patricia and Robert, had always tried to treat us equally and fairly, but Michael's perception was that I received preferential treatment because of my academic achievements, athletic abilities, and social popularity that made me the child they were proud to brag about to friends and extended family members who always seemed more interested in hearing about my latest accomplishments than his struggles and setbacks. The pattern continued through high school and college, where I earned scholarships and academic honors while Michael struggled with mediocre grades and a series of disciplinary issues that caused our parents significant stress and financial burden as they tried to help him find his path and develop the confidence and skills he needed to succeed in adult life. After college, I went directly to law school and then joined a prestigious firm where I worked my way up from associate to partner through dedication, long hours, and a natural aptitude for legal work that allowed me to build a successful practice and earn a substantial income that provided financial security for my family and allowed me to contribute generously to family celebrations and gatherings. Michael, meanwhile, had bounced from job to job and business venture to business venture, never finding the success or stability that he desperately wanted and that he believed he deserved based on his status as the older sibling who should have been the family success story rather than the cautionary tale. His latest business failure had been particularly devastating, both financially and emotionally, as he had invested everything he had, including money borrowed from our parents, into a restaurant venture that had collapsed within 6 months due to poor management, inexperience with the hospitality industry, and what he later admitted were unrealistic expectations about how easy it would be to run a successful business without proper planning or sufficient capital. The failure had cost him his savings, his credit rating, and his relationship with his longtime girlfriend, who had grown tired of his constant financial crises and inability to provide the stability and security that she wanted in a long-term partnership. The timing of his business failure had coincided with my promotion to senior partner, creating a stark contrast between our respective situations that made our family gatherings increasingly uncomfortable, as Michael became more bitter and resentful of what he perceived as my undeserved good fortune. The Christmas text demanding that I stay away from the family celebration was the culmination of months of increasingly hostile behavior from Michael, including passive-aggressive comments during family phone calls, deliberate exclusion from family group chats and planning discussions, and what I later learned were active attempts to turn other family members against me by spreading lies and distortions about my character and motivations that painted me as selfish, arrogant, and dismissive of family relationships. He had been telling our parents and extended family members that I thought I was better than everyone else because of my professional success, that I looked down on him and other family members who hadn't achieved the same level of financial prosperity, and that my presence at family gatherings created tension and discomfort because I allegedly made other people feel inadequate about their own lives and accomplishments. None of these characterizations were accurate reflections of my personality or behavior, as I'd always gone out of my way to be humble about my success and supportive of family members who were struggling with their own challenges, often providing financial assistance and professional advice when asked, while being careful not to make anyone feel patronized or diminished by my ability to help. I had paid for family vacations, contributed to medical expenses when relatives faced health crises, and used my legal expertise to help family members with various personal and business issues without ever expecting gratitude or recognition for these contributions to family welfare and unity. My success had always been something I wanted to share with my family rather than use as a weapon or source of superiority. But Michael's jealousy and insecurity had twisted my generosity into evidence of condescension, and my achievements into personal attacks on his own worth and dignity. The decision to reply okay to Michael's demand that I stay away from Christmas was strategic rather than genuine acceptance of his attempt to exclude me from family celebrations that belonged to all of us equally. I knew that simply agreeing to his unreasonable demand would confuse him and potentially expose the manipulative nature of his behavior to other family members, who would question why I was suddenly absent from Christmas celebrations that I had always been enthusiastic about attending and contributing to in meaningful ways. By agreeing to stay away without argument or protest, I was calling his bluff and forcing him to either explain to our parents and extended family why I wouldn't be attending Christmas, or admit that his demand was unreasonable and motivated by petty jealousy rather than legitimate concerns about family harmony or holiday planning logistics. What Michael didn't know was that I had been planning a surprise for the family Christmas celebration for months, working with local vendors and family friends to organize special activities and gifts that would make this year's holiday gathering particularly memorable and meaningful for everyone involved, especially the children and elderly relatives who found such joy in family traditions and celebrations. I had arranged for a professional photographer to document the family gathering, commissioned custom ornaments featuring photos of all the family members, and coordinated with a local catering company to provide a special holiday meal that would eliminate the stress and work that usually fell on our mother and the other women in the family, who typically spent the entire holiday cooking and cleaning rather than enjoying the celebration with everyone else. The surprise also included gifts for every family member that had been carefully chosen based on their individual interests and needs, including several expensive items for Michael that I had hoped would demonstrate my love and support despite our recent tensions and his obvious resentment of my success. I had purchased a professional-grade camera system for him because I knew he had always been interested in photography, but had never been able to afford the equipment necessary to pursue it seriously, hoping that this gift might provide him with a new creative outlet and potential source of income that could help rebuild his confidence and sense of purpose after his recent business failure. After sending my brief, okay response to Michael's text, I immediately called our parents to discuss the Christmas plans and ensure that my surprise arrangements were still on track for the family gathering that was now just 3 weeks away. During the conversation with my mother, I mentioned casually that Michael had suggested I might want to skip Christmas this year due to some family tensions, and I asked if she thought it would be better for family harmony if I stayed home with my own nuclear family rather than potentially causing discomfort or conflict during what should be a joyful and peaceful celebration. My mother's response was immediate and emphatic, expressing shock and dismay that Michael would suggest such a thing, and insisting that Christmas wouldn't be the same without me and my children, who brought so much joy and energy to the family gatherings and who had been looking forward to spending the holidays with their grandparents and extended family for months. The conversation with my mother revealed that Michael had not discussed his demand that I stay away from Christmas with our parents, meaning that his text was an attempt to manipulate me into excluding myself from family celebrations without anyone else knowing that he was behind my absence. This discovery confirmed my suspicion that his behavior was calculated and deliberate, rather than the result of genuine concerns about family dynamics or holiday planning, and it strengthened my resolve to not allow his jealousy and manipulation to deprive my children and the rest of our family of the Christmas celebration that we all deserve to enjoy together, regardless of his personal issues and resentments. Instead of staying away from Christmas as Michael had demanded, I decided to arrive at my parents' house a day earlier than originally planned, using the extra time to set up the surprise elements I had been planning, and to ensure that everything was perfect for the family gathering that would bring together 3 generations of relatives who rarely had opportunities to spend extended time together due to geographical distance and busy schedules. I wanted to be there early to help with preparations and to create an atmosphere of warmth and celebration that would make it impossible for Michael to disrupt the holiday spirit or create the kind of tension and conflict that he seemed determined to inject into our family relationships. The drive to my parents' house took me through the small town where I had grown up, and where many of my childhood memories had been formed during Christmas seasons that were filled with magic, wonder, and the kind of family togetherness that I wanted my own children to experience and remember throughout their lives. As I drove past familiar landmarks and neighborhoods decorated with holiday lights and displays, I felt a mixture of anticipation and sadness about the confrontation that was likely to occur when Michael discovered that I had not only ignored his demand to stay away, but had actually arrived early to take a leadership role in organizing and hosting the family celebration that he had tried to exclude me from. When I arrived at my parents' house and began unloading the car full of gifts, decorations, and catering supplies that were part of my surprise Christmas plans, my mother was overjoyed to see me and immediately began helping with the preparations while expressing her excitement about the special activities and elements I had arranged to make this year's celebration particularly memorable. My father, who had always been proud of my achievements and supportive of my efforts to contribute to family gatherings, was equally enthusiastic about the surprise plans and grateful for the thought and effort I had put into creating something special for the entire family to enjoy together. The next few hours were spent transforming my parents' house into a Christmas wonderland that exceeded anything we had ever created for previous holiday celebrations, with professional quality decorations, lighting, and table settings that created an atmosphere of magic and elegance that would provide the perfect backdrop for family photos and memories that would be treasured for years to come. The professional photographer I had hired arrived to discuss the schedule and locations for family portraits, while the catering team began preparing the kitchen and dining areas for the special holiday meal that would eliminate the stress and work that usually fell on family members who wanted to enjoy the celebration rather than spend all their time in the kitchen. Michael arrived at my parents' house several hours after I did, clearly expecting to find me absent from the Christmas celebration, as he had demanded in his text message 3 weeks earlier. The shock and confusion on his face when he saw me not only present, but obviously playing a central role in organizing and hosting the family gathering, was immediately apparent to everyone who witnessed his arrival and reaction to the situation he had not anticipated or prepared for emotionally. His initial response was anger and accusation, demanding to know why I had ignored his clear instruction to stay away from Christmas and accusing me of deliberately defying him and undermining his authority as the older sibling who should have the final say in family matters and holiday planning decisions. The confrontation that followed was witnessed by our parents and several early arriving family members who had come to help with preparations and who were confused by Michael's hostile behavior toward me and his apparent expectation that I should have been absent from the family celebration. When our mother asked Michael to explain why he thought I should stay away from Christmas, he struggled to provide a coherent or reasonable explanation beyond vague complaints about family tensions and his belief that my presence created discomfort for other family members who allegedly felt intimidated by my success and professional achievements. The weakness of his arguments and the obvious selfishness of his demand that I exclude myself and my children from Christmas became apparent to everyone present, especially when contrasted with the generous and thoughtful preparations I had made to ensure that this year's celebration would be special and memorable for the entire family. Our father, who rarely involved himself in family conflicts or took sides in disputes between his children, was visibly upset by Michael's behavior and his attempt to exclude his brother and grandchildren from Christmas celebrations that had always been inclusive and welcoming to all family members, regardless of personal differences or temporary conflicts. As more family members arrived throughout the evening and learned about the situation, the consensus was overwhelmingly supportive of my decision to ignore Michael's unreasonable demand and participate fully in the Christmas celebration that I had worked so hard to make special for everyone. Aunts, uncles, and cousins who had driven hours to attend the gathering expressed their appreciation for the surprise elements I had arranged and their dismay that Michael had tried to exclude me from celebrations that wouldn't have been the same without my presence and contributions to family traditions and holiday spirit. The professional photography session that I had arranged became a particularly powerful symbol of family unity and love, as relatives of all ages gathered for portraits that captured the joy and togetherness that defined our family relationships despite the temporary conflict that Michael had tried to create. When the photographer suggested individual family group photos, Michael initially refused to participate in any pictures that included me, But pressure from our parents and other family members eventually convinced him to set aside his resentment long enough to preserve family memories that would be important to future generations who deserve to see evidence of family love and unity rather than petty conflicts and jealousy. The Christmas dinner that had been prepared by the professional catering team I had hired was universally praised as the best holiday meal our family had ever shared, with multiple courses of traditional and innovative dishes that accommodated different dietary preferences and restrictions while maintaining the warmth and comfort that characterized family celebrations. The elimination of cooking and kitchen duties allowed all the women in the family to participate fully in conversations and activities rather than spending the entire day preparing and serving food, creating a more relaxed and enjoyable atmosphere that made everyone feel included and valued as guests, rather than workers responsible for hosting duties. The gift exchange that followed dinner included the special presents I had carefully chosen for each family member, including the professional camera equipment I had purchased for Michael, despite his recent hostility toward me and his attempt to exclude me from Christmas. When he opened the expensive gift and realized the thought and generosity behind my selection of something that aligned with his interests and could potentially provide him with new opportunities for creative expression and income, his anger and resentment began to crack as he struggled to maintain his hostile attitude towards someone who had clearly demonstrated love and support despite his cruel behavior. The custom ornaments I had commissioned, featuring photos of all family members throughout the years, became treasured keepsakes that would be used to decorate Christmas trees for decades to come, serving as annual reminders of the love and connections that bound our family together across generations and geographical distances. The children in the family were particularly excited about seeing their own faces on ornaments, alongside grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, and cousins, creating a sense of belonging and family pride that would influence their understanding of identity and relationships throughout their lives. As the evening progressed and family members shared stories, played games, and enjoyed the comfortable atmosphere that I had worked to create through careful planning and generous investment of time and resources, it became increasingly obvious that Michael's attempt to exclude me from Christmas had been motivated by jealousy and insecurity rather than legitimate concerns about family harmony or holiday logistics. His isolation and obvious discomfort as he watched family members enjoying themselves and expressing gratitude for my contributions to the celebration served as a natural consequence for his attempt to manipulate family relationships and exclude relatives who had done nothing to deserve such treatment. The reconciliation between Michael and me began gradually throughout the evening as he observed my interactions with other family members and realized that I had never displayed the arrogance or condescension that he had imagined or projected onto my behavior during previous family gatherings. My genuine interest in his photography hobby and my encouragement regarding potential ways he could develop his skills and possibly generate income from his talent helped him understand that my success had never been intended as a personal attack on his worth or a demonstration of superiority over family members who were struggling with their own challenges and setbacks. The conversation we finally had late that evening, after most other family members had gone to bed or returned to their own accommodations, was the most honest and productive discussion we had shared in years as adults, dealing with complex emotions and family dynamics that had been influenced by childhood patterns and adult insecurities. Michael admitted that his demand that I stay away from Christmas had been motivated by his embarrassment about his recent business failure and his fear that my presence would highlight his own struggles and make him feel even more inadequate in front of family members whose opinions and respect mattered to him. He also acknowledged that his resentment of my success had been unfair and destructive to our relationship, and that he had allowed his own insecurities and disappointments to poison his perception of my motivations and character in ways that had damaged our ability to maintain the close sibling bond that had been important to both of us during our childhood and young adult years. The professional camera equipment I had given him became a symbol of forgiveness and support, demonstrating that I valued our relationship more than any temporary conflict, and that I wanted to help him find new sources of confidence and purpose, rather than judge him for his failures or struggles. The Christmas celebration continued for several more days with a schedule of activities and gatherings that brought together different combinations of family members for various experiences and traditions that accommodated different ages, interests, and energy levels while maintaining the inclusive spirit that characterized our family's approach to holiday celebrations. The professional photographer returned for additional sessions that captured candid moments and informal interactions, alongside the formal portraits that would become treasured family heirlooms documenting this particular Christmas as a turning point in family relationships and healing of conflicts that had threatened to divide us permanently. The success of the surprise elements I had planned and implemented, combined with the positive response from family members of all ages, established new traditions and expectations for future Christmas celebrations that would incorporate some of the innovations and improvements I had introduced while maintaining the core traditions and activities that had always been important to our family identity and holiday spirit. The catered meals, professional photography, and carefully chosen gifts became models for how family members could contribute their unique skills, resources, and talents to enhance celebrations and create memorable experiences that strengthened bonds and demonstrated love and commitment to family relationships. The impact of that Christmas celebration extended far beyond the holiday season itself, as the healing of my relationship with Michael and the demonstration of family unity and support influenced how family members approached future conflicts and challenges that inevitably arise in large extended families with multiple generations and diverse personalities, interests, and life circumstances. The photographs from that Christmas became treasured documentation of family love and resilience, displayed in homes throughout our extended family network and serving as reminders of the importance of forgiveness, understanding, and commitment to maintaining relationships that might require effort and compromise, but that provide irreplaceable sources of identity, belonging, and emotional support throughout life's various challenges and transitions. Michael's attempt to exclude me from Christmas ultimately became the catalyst for a deeper and more honest relationship between us as brothers who had allowed childhood rivalry and adult insecurities to interfere with the natural love and support that should characterize sibling relationships throughout life. The professional camera equipment I had given him became the foundation for a new hobby that eventually developed into a part-time business, providing photography services for weddings, family portraits, and special events in his local community, giving him a source of income and creative satisfaction that helped rebuild his confidence and sense of purpose after his restaurant failure. The tradition of professional photography during family gatherings became an annual element of our Christmas celebrations, with Michael eventually taking over the role of family photographer and using his developing skills to document family milestones, celebrations, and everyday moments that might otherwise have been forgotten or poorly preserved. His newfound passion for photography also provided opportunities for him to travel to family events and gatherings throughout the year, strengthening his connections with relatives and giving him a valuable role in preserving family history and memories for future generations who would appreciate having professional quality documentation of their heritage and relationships. Today, 5 years after the Christmas when Michael tried to exclude me from family celebrations, our relationship is stronger and more supportive than it has been since childhood, built on mutual respect, understanding, and appreciation for each other's unique contributions to family life and individual pursuits that bring satisfaction and meaning to our adult lives. The lessons learned during that pivotal Christmas about forgiveness, generosity, and the importance of family unity have influenced how we approach conflicts and challenges in all our relationships, creating patterns of communication and problem-solving that prioritize understanding and reconciliation over pride and resentment. The extended family continues to gather for Christmas celebrations that incorporate many of the elements I introduced during that memorable holiday, with different family members taking responsibility for various aspects of planning and preparation, while maintaining the inclusive spirit and generous traditions that characterize our approach to family relationships and celebrations. The custom ornaments from that Christmas remain treasured decorations that are carefully preserved and displayed each year, serving as annual reminders of the love, forgiveness, and family unity that emerged from what could have been a permanent division caused by jealousy and misunderstanding. Looking back on Michael's text demanding that I stay away from Christmas and my decision to reply okay, while actually arriving first to prepare for the celebration, I realized that sometimes the best response to attempts at exclusion and manipulation is to demonstrate through actions rather than words the values and priorities that guide our approach to family relationships and important traditions. By focusing on creating a beautiful and memorable experience for the entire family, rather than engaging in conflict or retaliation, I was able to expose the unreasonable nature of Michael's demand while simultaneously healing relationships and strengthening bonds that might have been permanently damaged by a different response to his jealousy and insecurity. Was I wrong to ignore Michael's demand that I stay away from Christmas and instead arrive early to help prepare for the family celebration? Should I have confronted him directly about his attempt to exclude me, rather than allowing the situation to unfold naturally during the family gathering? Would you have responded differently if your sibling tried to exclude you from important family celebrations due to jealousy about your success and achievements? Sometimes the most effective response to family conflict is to demonstrate love and generosity rather than engage in arguments or retaliation, allowing actions to speak louder than words while creating opportunities for healing and reconciliation that might not emerge through direct confrontation or emotional arguments.